Hi, I'm Nicole, and this here is Mozzy. That's his default setting. Mozzy is a service dog in training, and I wanted to kind of document the venture that we're on and just kind of share why I am pursuing this. I have a traumatic brain injury, and I'm much better than I was 2.5 years ago. But 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with 2 traumatic brain injuries due to COVID. Most likely, I had some concussions when I was younger, and then when I got COVID, it attacked my brain. And I ended up with 2 traumatic brain injuries, and I went on medical leave, went through a ton of therapies. I am working full time. I'm doing really well, but one thing that I struggle with is being in really busy settings, having lots of crowds, loud music, lots of conversation around me, the lighting being difficult, and my nervous system gets out of whack. And so I started thinking about a service dog probably 2 months before I found Mozzy. My other dog passed away in June of 2025, and he was really old, 17 and a half. And I had just decided I couldn't do it again because it was so sad when he passed away. But as the months went on, I just realized I was really missing having a dog around. And as I thought through why I didn't want a dog again, it was a lot because of some of the behavioral issues that my other dog had, even though I absolutely loved him. He was a rescue at 8 years old, and he had a lot of issues like anxiety and reactivity. And I started exploring what it could look like for me to get a service dog that could be certified to help me, that could really help me with like flying. Airports are really difficult for me. I get really overwhelmed, and by the time I get to my destination, I'm exhausted, and it takes a couple of days to recover, and I like to travel, so it's a bit of a problem. I also live in Nashville. My family is in Minnesota, and I want to visit them more. And yeah, so anyway, having a dog that could be with me, that could help me, just sounded kind of exciting as I explored it. And so I started praying about it. And I thought it would take a very long time to find a dog. I wanted to get a rescue dog. I didn't want a puppy. And so I just asked ChatGPT, how do I find the dog? And then I ended up finding a trainer in Nashville, and I reached out to him and I asked him like if he could do an assessment for a dog if I found one, or if he knew of any dogs. And he agreed, and he works with our local rescue called Wags and Walks. And so I thought I would actually end up getting a dog from there. But the story of Mozzy is that even before I found this trainer, I found him. And what happened is I went to a cabin, and on my way home, I just was like, I really missed having a dog with me. So I just thought, I'll just stop by the animal shelter. And I stopped by and I asked them, like, do they have any dogs that were good candidates to be service dogs? And they suggested Mozzy, formerly known as Luke. And so I met him, and I immediately felt just like a lot of peace. But I was really hesitant because I was like, I don't truly know how to, at this point, find a service dog other than ChatGPT. And the other thing was that there were a few things they didn't know about him. Like, they didn't know how he would do with other dogs because he had been quarantined due to having kennel cough. And they also said he didn't like to go to the bathroom on a leash. And I was like, well, that's rough. We did end up working through that. So I left. And then a week later, I went back and I was like, well, maybe I just want a cat because that's clearly the way we should go. And I saw Mozzy as I walked by, and I was like, no, I just don't know. And so I left again, And a week later, I met my trainer, Ben. And he was going to go check out some dogs at Wags and Walks, but they told him, like, these are not candidates. And so I was like, all right. And he was like, well, what about that dog that you found at the shelter? And I was like, I mean, I guess, like, there were things they just, like, didn't know about him. And he was like, let me just go. And so for $100, he went and did an assessment. And it was a Friday when I talked to him, and he wasn't able to make it there until Saturday. And so I prayed I didn't expect to get emotional, but it's an answer to prayer. So I prayed about it. And I was like, God, if this is what you want me to do, like, make it work. So the next day, Ben was supposed to go there around 2, and he texted and said he could make it at 10. And he went over there, and at 10:15, I got a text from him saying, you have to come get this dog. Like, I don't know how you found him. He's amazing. And so I went, and I walked in there, and I adopted him. And I'm so happy I did. That was in November 2025. It was the week before Thanksgiving. I had just canceled a trip to Iceland over Thanksgiving because my head was bothering me too much, and I was scared to go. It didn't feel well. But I think that was part of the answer to the prayer of, like, yeah, I did end up losing that money for the airfare, but I found Mozzy, and I was able to bond with him for a week and figure out how to get him to go to the bathroom on a leash and get to know him. And then we started one-on-one training with Ben in December. It was pretty sporadic over the winter because I went home. There were holidays. I went home. We had the crazy ice storm in Nashville, just like freak things happening. But right now it's May 7th, 2026. And Mozzy is doing so good. He now gets to wear a service dog and training vest, and we go to like Staples and Green Hills Mall, and we're just doing a lot of training, and he's come so far. Like, when I got him, he he knew how to sit, but it was up to him if he wanted to. And he couldn't lay down. He was housebroken, thankfully. But he didn't like walking on a leash. Like, it was something we had to work on encouraging him to walk on. I think he was kind of off leash before I got him. And his story, to the extent that I know it, his story is that an elderly couple surrendered him. And I don't know why he wasn't adopted sooner. Like, he's a really great dog, a little lazy. I kind of love that because I was pretty scared about getting a puppy. The other thing that is really cool is that my brother-in-law is also going through this at the same time. He has some things from his time working for the police department that he wrestles with. And so he got a dog around the same time, and they are also going through training. She's much younger. She's like 6 months. So they've had to deal with puppy stuff. But Mozzy is progressing really fast. He wants to please. The biggest struggle we have right now is with other dogs, and it's not because he's aggressive, it's because he wants to play. So he's been going to doggy daycare twice a week, because I go to the office twice a week. And Ben suggested doing that because what Mozzy's issue is he doesn't know when to stop. He wants to just keep playing. And so Ben said the best way for him to learn boundaries is for other dogs to teach that to him. And I found this great doggy daycare, and they'll step in and they tell me each day how many times Mozzy had to go into timeout to calm down because he was overstimulated. But the big thing Mozzy will be learning is deep pressure therapy. And we're definitely working on this. It's been a little hard. I first focused on the AKC Good Citizen tools. I don't know what to call them, but we've been really focused on that because I wanted to be able to feel very confident walking him in public and taking him places. And we have been doing some deep pressure therapy, but we're kind of shifting now. Now I'm really focusing on that because Mozzy will be taking his first certification for the AKC Good Citizen in like 2 sessions. He might not pass. It really is the dog thing of like, will he like chill? but we'll keep working at it. And then, you know, we really dive into the service dog stuff after that. It's just really fun to work with him. I feel much calmer. I will say one thing I didn't expect, but now it makes sense, is like when I have him in public, I feel more confident in crowds because I'm really focused on him and how he's communicating with me, how I'm communicating with him. And a lot of times in crowds, I kind of go inward a bit because I feel very overwhelmed. And I just don't like it. Like I used to go to stand-up shows all the time at Zany's, and the last time I went, it just was like too much. And I had headphones on and sunglasses and everything, and it was too much. So I'm hoping that it will be really helpful in that way, and that Mozzy will be able to kind of intervene as needed in those settings. So yeah, so this is Mr. Mozzy's journey to a service dog. I'm kind of thinking of tagline being how Mozzy hacked his way into never having to stay home alone, because we definitely dealt with some separation anxiety at first, as a lot of shelter dogs do. But I'm really excited to be able to share this. I'm really excited to just see, like, document the journey to the best of my ability. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is Mr. Moz. And Mozzy his name is from White Collar Crime. My last dog's name was Caffrey, also from White Collar. And they were best friends. So this is Mr. Moz, and I don't think he's going to wake up and say goodbye. Okay, bye.